They say respect costs nothing, yet some people spend their entire lives bankrupt of it. This is the story of how Felicia mocked the wrong woman, and how a rusty car turned into a mirror that showed everyone's true character. It was a quiet afternoon, the kind of day where nothing remarkable seems destined to happen. The mall parking lot shimmered under the sun, rows of polished cars glinting like trophies. And then, into that scene came a car that didn't shine, didn't dazzle, didn't sparkle. It was an old sedan, the kind of vehicle most people overlook. Its paint faded from years of loyal service, its engine humming steady but tired. Out of it stepped Tasha, a black woman in her late 30s, her steps calm, her presence dignified. She wasn't flashy, she wasn't loud, but there was a quiet strength in her, the kind you notice only if you're paying attention. Felicia wasn't paying attention. No, Felicia was leaning against her sparkling SUV, sunglasses perched high on her nose, her laughter sharp, almost cruel, echoing across the asphalt. She nudged her friend, nodding toward Tasha's car. And then, with a voice that carried across the lot, she sneered. "Would you look at that junkyard on wheels? I didn't even know people still drove things like that. She better pray it starts when she's ready to leave." Her friend cackled, the kind of shallow laughter that feeds on humiliation. Felicia wasn't finished. She called out louder, making sure Tasha heard every word. "Hey lady, need me to call you a tow truck? Or maybe the museum? Because that relic belongs behind velvet ropes, not in a parking lot." Heads turned. Shoppers paused. For a moment, all eyes landed on Tasha. The insult stung, but Tasha didn't flinch. She didn't hurl insults back. She didn't lower herself to Felicia's game. She simply turned her head, gave Felicia a long, piercing look, and said softly, "You'd be surprised who owns what." Then she walked away, her heels clicking steady against the pavement, leaving Felicia to laugh louder, trying to mask the chill that ran through her. 20 minutes later, Felicia swept into a luxury car dealership, dragging her friend behind her, her voice booming so the showroom would take notice. "I'm here to upgrade, baby. Time for something brand new. Something that screams success. Not like that beat-up trash I just saw outside." Salesmen swarmed her, their smiles polished, their energy desperate. She loved it. She soaked it in like sunlight, strutting between gleaming cars, imagining herself untouchable. But then, the glass doors slid open again, and in walked Tasha. No hesitation, no nerves, just quiet authority, the kind that turned heads without trying. And suddenly, the salesman who had been orbiting Felicia broke away, their smiles shifting instantly, their posture tightening. One of them nearly tripped over himself rushing toward Tasha. "Mrs. Parker, welcome back. We've been expecting you. Your office is ready." Felicia froze. Her friend blinked, whispering, "Office? Did he just say office?" They both stared as Tasha was led past the showroom, past the rows of luxury cars, past Felicia herself, straight into a glass-paneled office at the back. And there, etched boldly on the door, were the words, "Tasha Parker, owner and CEO." The smirk on Felicia's face shattered like glass. Her lips parted, but no sound came. She had mocked the very woman who owned everything around her. Minutes later, Tasha sat behind her desk, a sleek plaque shining on the surface. Parker Auto Group, family owned since 1985. She was calm, collected, her every movement radiating authority. The salesman slipped out, leaving Felicia awkwardly standing at the doorway. But Tasha's voice called her in. "Felicia, isn't it? Why don't you step inside?" Felicia shuffled forward, her confidence evaporated. "Listen, about what I said outside, I didn't know." But Tasha raised a hand, silencing her. "You didn't need to know. Respect doesn't depend on titles or money or the kind of car someone drives. Costs nothing. And yet, somehow, it's the thing most people fail to give." Felicia tried to speak again, but her throat was dry. The power dynamic had flipped so quickly she could barely breathe. And then, a salesman knocked on the door, holding a folder. "Mrs. Parker, the finance papers for the SUV Felicia wanted are ready." Should I cancel the deal? Felicia's head snapped up. No, no, please. I want the car. I'll pay full price, cash if I have to. But Tasha leaned forward, her voice steady, cutting through the air like a blade. Felicia, this is my dealership. That means I decide who drives away in one of my cars. Felicia stammered, her face burning as customers began to whisper, their eyes darting between the two women. Tasha's calm gaze didn't waver. You mocked me because of an old car, but you never thought to ask who was behind the wheel. That's where you failed. Success isn't about chrome and leather. It isn't about flashing cash or pretending to be important. Success is about character. And right now, yours is bankrupt. Silence filled the office. Felicia's friend shifted uncomfortably, staring at the floor. And then Tasha rose, walking to the window, looking down at the old sedan parked outside. Her voice softened, but the weight of her words pressed heavy. That car you laughed at? It was the first thing I bought after my mother passed away. She worked 3 jobs just to make sure I could go to school. Every mile on that car reminds me of sacrifice, of resilience, of where I came from. That car is not shame. It's my history, and I'll never apologize for it. Felicia's face flickered with regret, but Tasha wasn't finished. She turned sharply to her staff. Cancel the sale. If she cannot respect people, she doesn't deserve our business. The words struck like thunder. Felicia gasped, humiliated, as whispers spread across the showroom floor. She tried to protest, but Tasha had already turned her back, signaling the conversation was over. Felicia stormed out of the dealership, her heels clacking angrily against the tile, her pride bleeding in every step. She threw herself into her SUV, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. Her friend sat silently, afraid to speak. Felicia gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white, her face twisted in rage. She thinks she can embarrass me? Nobody embarrasses me. She hasn't seen the last of me. Her eyes flickered in the rearview mirror, sharp, dangerous, burning with vengeance. And in that moment it became clear, Felicia wasn't finished. The story didn't end with humiliation. It was only the beginning of a storm. And so, as Tasha returned to her work, unaware of what was coming, Felicia drove away plotting her revenge. A revenge that would threaten everything Tasha had built and put her entire empire on the line. Because sometimes, humiliation doesn't humble people. Sometimes, it fuels them. They say humiliation makes some people wiser, but others, it makes them dangerous. Felicia was the latter. The sting of public embarrassment burned hotter than fire. She replayed Tasha's words over and over in her head. Success is about character. And right now, yours is bankrupt. Those words haunted her, echoing in the silence of her luxury SUV as she drove away from the dealership. But humiliation didn't humble Felicia. No, it twisted into something darker. That night, she sat at her kitchen table, laptop glowing in the dark, wine glass half empty, hands shaking with rage. Felicia typed Tasha Parker's name into the search bar. Article after article appeared. Successful black woman leads Parker Auto Group to record profits. Local businesswoman expands into 3rd dealership. Photo after photo of Tasha smiling confidently, shaking hands, standing tall as an example of triumph. Felicia's lips curled. Let's see how perfect you are when the truth comes out. Days later, rumors began to spread. Customers at Parker Auto whispered about shady business. Felicia had planted anonymous reviews online. False stories of bad service, fake accusations of fraud, lies meant to corrode the reputation Tasha had spent years building. And it didn't stop there. Felicia knew someone who worked in local media, a gossip blogger hungry for clicks. Felicia fed her lies, spinning stories of bankruptcy filings, unpaid employees, secret scandals. Soon headlines began appearing, questioning if Tasha's empire was on the verge of collapse. The pressure mounted. Staff grew nervous. Some customers canceled their deals, afraid of being tied to a scandal. Tasha's once calm office buzzed with panic. Her managers shuffled nervously. Her phone rang non-stop, reporters waiting outside the dealership hoping for a quote. Tasha stood tall, but behind her composed face was a storm. She had worked too hard, fought too many battles, to let a bitter woman tear it all apart with lies. One Friday evening, as the sun set behind the dealership, Tasha sat alone in her office, her old sedan parked faithfully outside as always. Her hands pressed against her temples, exhaustion creeping in. That's when her assistant knocked timidly. "Mrs. Parker, you should see this." On her phone screen was a video. Felicia, standing in her SUV, recording herself. Her voice oozed with venom. "Everyone thinks Tasha Parker is some role model, some success story. But I know the truth. She's a fraud. And soon, everyone will know it too." The video had thousands of views already. Tasha exhaled slowly, her chest heavy. For years, she had risen above insults, worked harder than anyone, built her empire brick by brick. But this was war, and she knew she couldn't fight it alone. The next morning, Tasha called a meeting with her entire staff. The showroom was silent, all eyes on her. She stood tall in front of them, her voice firm. "We are under attack. Lies have been planted to destroy not just me, but everything we've built together. But understand this, truth is stronger than gossip, and character is stronger than hate. We will not bow to lies. We will rise above them." Her words steadied trembling hearts. Her staff nodded, their loyalty unshaken. But Tasha knew words wouldn't be enough. Felicia had crossed a line, and now, Tasha was prepared to push back. That afternoon, Tasha made a phone call, not to her lawyer, not to the press, but to someone more powerful, her mother's best friend, Ms. Evelyn, a retired judge with deep connections across the city. "Evelyn," Tasha said calmly, "I need your help. Someone's trying to ruin me." The retired judge didn't hesitate. "Baby, say no more. Send me everything. Every post, every headline, every video. We'll see how brave this Felicia feels when she's standing in front of a courtroom." And just like that, the wheels of justice began to turn. Felicia, meanwhile, was drunk with victory. Sitting with her friend at a fancy cafe, she scrolled through comments praising her for exposing Tasha. She laughed, sipping champagne. "See? I told you. No one embarrasses me and gets away with it. By next month, she'll be finished. That dealership will be mine for pennies." But her laughter was cut short when a man in a sharp suit approached her table. He slid a crisp envelope in front of her. Felicia frowned, tearing it open. Her eyes widened as she read the bold letters. "Cease and desist." Her friend gasped. Felicia's face flushed red. She threw the papers down. "She thinks she can scare me with this? Oh no. This just proves she's desperate." But deep inside, a flicker of fear began to grow. The next week, Tasha held a press conference. Cameras flashed as she stood behind a podium, her old sedan parked proudly in the background. Her voice rang clear. "Recently, lies have been spread about me and my business. These lies were not accidents, they were targeted attacks meant to destroy. But I will not be intimidated. My record speaks for itself. My employees stand with me, and the truth will prevail." The audience clapped, reporters shouting questions. Tasha smiled calmly, but inside, she knew the battle wasn't over, because even as she spoke, Felicia was already planning her next move. That night, Felicia sat in her darkened living room, the glow of her laptop reflecting in her eyes. Her voice was a whisper, dripping with malice. "If Tasha wants war, then war she'll get. I'll dig deeper. I'll find something. Nobody's perfect. Everyone has secrets. And when I find hers, she'll wish she never crossed me." She leaned back in her chair, a wicked smile spreading. And then the screen flickered. An email notification popped up. The subject line read, "I know Tasha's secret. Contact me." Felicia froze, her smile widening again, her heart racing. Was this it? The key to destroying her enemy once and for all? She clicked the email open, eyes scanning rapidly, and what she saw made her hand tremble. Felicia thought she had found her weapon, but what she uncovered was something far more dangerous. something that could not only destroy Tasha's empire, but also unravel her own life in ways she never imagined.